This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 284.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have 4. So we have a WordCamp for publishers, which is August 7th, 8th, and 9th in Columbus, Ohio, which is actually not the weekend. It's prior to the weekend, so keep that in mind. It's midweek, I believe. WordCamp Birmingham, August 10th and 11th, which was an awesome camp I went to last year. WordCamp Montreal, August 10th and 11th also, and WordCamp Nagpur, August 11th, a single-day camp. So if you're in the areas, check those out. The Publishers Camp is specifically kind of focusing on, what's the word, I guess? It says bringing together folks who use WordPress to manage publications, big or small. So there you go. So, okay. In the news, moving on to segment 1, we have 2 things to talk about here. WordCamp US 2019 is now offering free on-site childcare, which is very exciting. Children ages 6 to 12 years old will have free on-site care. So if bringing your kid to camp was going to, or not having childcare for you to attend a camp was going to have you be a problem, now it shouldn't be a problem if you can make it and you can have your child in childcare. It's in St. Louis this year, and I'm looking forward to being there and seeing everybody. I haven't gone to that many camps this year, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, the second also in the news, Caldera Forms was acquired by Saturday Drive. Saturday Drive is the corporate company name of Ninja, the guys behind Ninja Forms. So Josh Pollock and a few people from his company were acquired and are going to retain Ninja Forms along with Caldera Forms. It should be interesting how that plays out. Okay, moving on, segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's show. I'm calling this one No More Bandaids for the reason of this. In the past episodes, I've talked and shared about client relationships, tips and topics, how to find clients, red flags about dealing with clients or new clients, how to hold your ground with clients, even how to fire clients, right? So this week, I want to talk about how and when to pull off the Band-Aid. In this case, having a conversation with a client about overhauling their site because of stuff and things that are just wrong with it. And what makes this topic potentially difficult is that the client, may have already spent a lot of money on the site originally, though not with me or with you, because, well, you didn't build the site, nor did I in this case. I acquired the site a few years ago from another agency and developer, and it's not my intention here to throw anyone under the bus, but things from past entities sometimes just aren't is good. You know, I'm actually even getting more picky about taking maintenance clients for sites that we don't build because of this exact problem. I don't feel guilty that things are broken per se. I'm here to put a Band-Aid on it. I'm here to do maintenance. But sometimes maintenance is just that. You're Band-Aiding things. You're plugging one hole for something else to pop open. It's whack-a-mole, right? Anyway, and I'm working on going more with retainers for this type of client. That way, it's worth our time and energies to really dive in a little deeper. But just to do basic maintenance on sites like this can be problematic at best. Anyway, I digress. So how do we approach it and why? How do we talk about this with clients and why do we do it? Well, let's start with the why. Number 1 is, in my opinion, is the site age. In this case, the site was built about 7 years ago, and things were done a certain way back then, and that are no longer done now. No more, the best practices have changed. In this case, APIs from certain services and third parties have changed or are going to change. PHP has been radically changed. It's version 7.3 right now versus, the server may be outdated as well. Shared hosting versus managed hosting or private VPS. Things like that. The site has gotten old and it's showing its age. And the theme, the way it was built or can be built, is also an issue because if things weren't done or are not kept current based on technologies, you can have a lot of problems. Like I said, whack-a-mole earlier. Can't update the theme because the theme's not being developed anymore or maintained because that theme developer is also possibly out of the picture. So that's number one. Number two is on the why, is because at the end of the day, the client's tossing good money after bad. I think it's the right way to say that. In the case that I'm dealing with currently, overall maintenance is getting to the point where it's wasteful of the client's money, in my opinion. And sure, I could keep charging the client, and we charge a decent hourly rate, and they buy blocks of hours, but I don't ethically feel it's the right thing to do. So I want to give them options. It's just simple as that. So the how. So the how is also equally important. You have to start the conversation with the client somehow. And in this case, in an open and honest way, which I just did about a week and a half ago, as an API that's being used on another third-party service changed and caused some trickle down, some cascading issues, not CSS, but cascading downfall of a waterfall, if you will, of things breaking once again. And after digging in, I updated the client on the current situation. We did a couple small fixes, but then I was just debating with this and thinking about it, thinking this is not the best situation for them or for us, really. So I estimated the hours of the current fix that was paid for. I also mentioned what this might take moving forward, and one of those options was to take the time right now to recode the whole backend, just rebuild it from the ground up. And the client was receptive to this idea and wants more information. So this got me thinking, how should I approach the next level of this, the next stage of this? So I reached out to some friends, Kyle Maurer being one of them. He's a co-host on the Get Options podcast, a good friend. And his take on it was very similar to mine. First and foremost, his take on it would be, when he used to run an agency, emphasize the good. You want the client to be excited about this rebuild versus, if they spend more money, another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, and all they get is the same site without, quote, bugs, that's not going to be all that great. They're going to feel like they just wasted a lot more money again. So you want to emphasize the good. You add improvements, maybe some new functionality, new features. So that kind of got me thinking again. Ask the question to the client. What's the biggest hurdle right now? Besides these little things that we keep band-aiding, what else, now that they're 5, 6, 7 years into this company, what else could we do to make the site that much better? Maybe new integrations, maybe user activity to learn from the users, do some heat maps, some UI changes, UX changes, and avoid the overall sameness, okay? So it's a good opportunity to do this, but you want the client to be excited about this, okay? So that also then takes me to taking charge of this. Once I'm going to put this to pen to paper, if you will, I'm going to outline a specific plan of action that my company will take. We'll take ownership of it, and we'll present that. And we'll present a price on that, or a value proposition there, and a timeline to get this done timely, and QA'd and tested and delivered and finalized. And then follow through with that, because it needs to become a priority to track the progress, to let the client know that this is really happening, because the last thing we want is for this to happen once again. Okay, so just framing it with a new solution, with taking charge, follow through, and really, emphasize the good. Don't make it just be the same. The sameness is not going to be great here. So there you have it. So again, the reason being the site age, tossing good money after bad, and just kind of showing that you can really listen to what the client wants. In this case, taking new ownership of it, because again, I acquired this client, and I've been, like I said, acquiring clients like this often in the past few years. And, it's always interesting to see the relationship expand and change over time. So hope that helps. Just keep in mind that sometimes you got to just rip that Band-Aid off and say, hey, sorry, your site's really, really, really badly broken on the back end. And though we didn't build it, we want to help you rebuild it and make it better and functional and faster and more secure. All those things need to go into this. So, okay, there you go. That's just my 2 cents on pulling off that Band-Aid and talking to the client honestly and openly about the situation at hand. Okay, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week, actually, I want to mention a soundtrack to work to. I like listening to music, certain music. I use a service oftentimes that I pay for called Focus at Will. But in this case, I want to give you a soundtrack that's free. It's over on YouTube, actually. The TRON Legacy soundtrack. Matter of fact, I prepped this show listening to that. This part of it this morning, part of it a couple days ago. I really like the soundtrack. There's not a whole lot of words, if any, in the soundtrack whatsoever. Just kind of some EDM style music. Kind of gives you some energy going, energetic. So check that out. I'll put a link to the soundtrack in the show notes. All right, that is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in. Adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, become a Patreon. Feel free. You can sponsor the show as well. There's a form on the website. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.